Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. How are you all feeling? It is a fantastic Monday. It's warm. It's hot. Yes. I don't know about where Brian's at, but it's not cool. It
is hot and muggy. We got thunderstorms here. It's a good time.
It might as well be a boy band because it is consistently 94 degrees where I'm at all the time.
So 98 degrees.
Yeah, it's not quite the fame of 98 degrees. It's just about 4 degrees.
Just left. A little degrees down.
That is okay.
Got it.
Thank you all for joining us on this lovely day and getting us wherever you get us, whether that's via the podcast or whether that's via the live stream. You will notice that we are without a one Marcus J. Destin this week, which is fine. He has to do some stuff, and stuff happens, and that's totally okay. But we are joined, as always, by my other co-host, Brian Roush. Brian Roush, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good to be here. I wasn't here last week for the crossover episode, so I was super bummed that I couldn't be here. So it's good to be back.
Yeah, which is fantastic, and we are glad that you are back, Brian. We missed you. Brian, did you see Cruella yet, or have you?
I have not. I have not. I have not seen it yet.
I am very curious as to what you believe about that movie.
I listened to the episode, so I know the main beats, but I need to see it myself, and we have not. Like Maggie and I talked about it, and we're like, I don't think we're like at a point to spend $30 to see that at home.
No, we'll risk going to a theater for that, right? Like you want your theater, you want to be like a triumphant return to the theater, and this doesn't feel as triumphant-y as it needs to be. So.
No.
Yeah.
Like this isn't the movie. Like we're like either Fast and Furious or Black Widow,
which is fine. Which
Cruella
I think those are good choices.
Like, this is it. Like it just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel right.
No,
but
not at
what
all.
about yourself, Doug? How are you?
Doing quite well. Like I said, it is warm where we're at. I feel old. I had a bachelor party this weekend. And, you guys, it has been a minute before I have gone out and done things like that. Not even like pandemic-y, like gone out and done things, but just in general, like just to drink like that at age 34 feels odd. Like odd.
So did you try to keep up with the other people that were in the bachelor party?
No. I would have been calling you from a morgue because I would have died. But
okay.
I enjoyed myself. We celebrated the gentleman who was getting married, and all in all, it was a good weekend. But Brian, we have some news to get to.
Yes,
and
we
more
do.
importantly, we have Catch That Quotable to get through, which is, again, for people who listen, this is the weekly segment where we try to quiz each other on movies and trivia and quotes and things like that. And Brian, since you had a brief tour of the world last week, I am very curious. Brian, what is your quote for this week?
Oh, I'm ready. And for those of you that listen consistently, I'm usually one of the guys that's like, I just got my quote and I just got here.
Brian came in prepared. I asked him, I was like, Brian, are you ready? He's like, yeah, I'm ready.
Look, I got my quote. I got my news items. I'm ready to go. So here we go. The quote is, look, I'm just a biochemist. Most of the time, I work in a little glass jar and lead a very uneventful life. I drive a Volvo, a beige one. But what I'm dealing with here is one of the most deadly substances the earth has ever known. It's a longer quote, but
Brian, I feel like I know this.
I think you might.
I feel like I know this, Brian.
Once more for everybody listening. Look, I'm just a biochemist. Most of the time, I work in a little glass jar and lead a very uneventful life. I drive a Volvo, a beige one. But what I'm dealing with here is one of the most deadly substances the earth has ever known.
Brian, I feel like I know this.
Okay.
This feels like, okay, I want my hint because I want my hint only because, like I said, I feel like I'm going down a path and you're
Okay.
either going to confirm that, yep, I stepped out and went the right direction, or you're going to confirm that I went way off the rails with this. So, Bryan, what is the hint for this particular movie?
The hint is good speed.
Bryan, is this The Rock?
It is confirmed. Well done. And
Yeah.
this is Nicolas Cage's character talking to Sean Connery.
Stanley Goodspeed.
Yes. Wow. That's incredible that you knew that character name.
I felt like I like when you first said it, I was like, it's the thing in there about the Volvo. Like usually
Right.
I'm like, I drive a Volvo, a beige one. Like it's just the way in which he reads it that I'm just like, it's gotta be something on that general beat.
Right.
But Bryan, that was incredible. So
I mean, it takes two, man. The pleasure was mine. I'm so happy you got it. This
there
is
was
going to be an
something.
exciting catch that quotable season
This is
now.
gonna be really great, and I'm genuinely excited for you to hear my quote because I feel like my quote's up your alley.
I don't know,
But
man.
I am very curious. So, Bryan, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay. All right. So this particular quote has the name of a character in it. So I'm going to leave that character's name out in
Okay.
the interest of hoping that you get it. Okay.
Understood.
All right. So here we go. There's only one kid on this launch with any brains at all so far, and that's blank. One more time. There's only one kid on this launch with any brains at all so far, and that's blank.
Oh man. Oh lordy. I'm gonna kick myself. I'm just gonna go ahead and smash that hint button. I'm not even gonna talk it out.
Okay. Your hint, Bryan, is Ford.
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 All right. I'm just gonna go for it. Is this Armageddon?
Bryan, this is not Armageddon. This is the movie Ender's Game from 2013, and it was said by Harrison Ford's character.
Of course.
I'm just for everybody, Colonel Graff.
Oh my gosh.
So there you go.
Well played, sir.
Yes,
I saw that movie. I have read that book. That's incredible. Yes,
you know what's
good
you
pull.
know what's even more incredible, Bryan?
Was that?
I pulled that quote, and I have never seen that movie. So I pulled a quote that I've never seen from a movie I've never seen before.
Oh my gosh. And now I'm like kicking myself even more because they call like the different classes of like starfighter pilots like launches essentially. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a good quote. That was a deep dive. I should have thought about that. Just like a hair more, just a hair more. I would have got there.
I'd be willing to bet that I'd given you the name of the character, like Ender Wiggin. Like I probably would have given it all away. So that's why I left that out. I was like, that's a surefire way to show
the moment
everybody.
You would have said Ender. I mean, like I don't even know any other fictional characters named Ender. I've never even met an Ender.
Yeah, man, I don't think there are.
Yeah. Also, for everybody listening, if you haven't read Ender's Game, solid sci-fi book.
I've heard good things.
Incredible.
I've heard good things from you, and then from another mutual friend of ours. I've heard fantastic things about this particular book and movie. Like, so you are not the only one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Catch That Quotable. A little bit more brief this week, but you know what? Sometimes brevity is the art of wit, or
it's
maybe that's
the soul of it.
Maybe that's where we're at. But Bryan, we have some news to get into this week, and I would love it if you would start me off with your first piece of news this week, sir.
I would absolutely love to do that. So my first piece of news here is that Mission Impossible 7, the filming has halted over a positive COVID-19 test, and this is months after Tom Cruise went on a rant. Don't worry, we'll reference it more in a second, about how everybody needed to be safe and how that they were the gold standard. I remember that part. And so essentially production on Mission Impossible 7, which by the way has felt like it has been in production for years, is now
absolutely
and by the way, like principal photography, I'm not talking like pre-production or anything. I'm talking like filming this movie. So they are shut down until June 14th.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's unreal. It's putting them super behind schedule already. And this is the second time they've had to do it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if anybody's familiar with his like screaming fit months ago, this is genuine. Like, I'm surprised that we have not heard that Tom Cruise has called to the top of a water tower somewhere to just to start picking off key grips like left and right, because this is nuts, man.
And oh my God. And let me clarify. So this is the first shutdown. The rant was about somebody standing too close to someone when they were reviewing footage, when they were looking at dailies. So like this is the first time it's shut down, but this is the second time like it's been an issue, is what I'll call it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like I mean, and like we're talking about stuff like, hey, people are counting on us, like making this huge overture of a speech. So I guess it just didn't stick.
Yeah, Brian, did they say at all how much did they say how much like time is left to shoot on this?
They
Like,
haven't said how much time is left to shoot. I do know that they're trying to film Mission Impossible 7 and 8 back to back.
oh, bold move, Cotton.
I believe that is the last thing I've seen, but this might change things. I don't
Okay.
know. But yeah, I mean, like they've been doing this in Italy since at least February of 2020. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
so whatever this movie is, I just can only imagine it's just like
oh my
it's just
God.
stunts. There's actually no story in Mission Impossible 7. It's just wall to wall stunts. There's no story.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all, especially with the way like Hollywood is these days, like with Fast, with Nine,
Nine,
Nine coming out and other
Fast
things.
9.
Like,
Yeah.
it seems like it's just we're playing this game of like one-upsmanship of
Oh,
like,
totally.
hey, like F9 drove a helicopter into a spaceship and took on Martians. Your move, Tom Cruise. Like, it just feels a little at some point in time excessive. Brian, I
Yeah.
have the quote from the last time this went off, and I'm gonna just read it. However, this was from the USA Today, and I am not gonna be so bold to remove the expletives.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah, and I'm getting this from Entertainment Weekly, but it's pretty widely published.
So here we go. If I see you do it again, you're fucking gone. And if anyone on this crew does it, that's it. We are the gold standard. They're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us, because they believe in us and what we're doing. I'm on the phone with every fucking studio at night, insurance companies, producers, and they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs, you fuck. I don't ever want to see it again, ever.
Yes,
So, real quick, I mean, he went as so far to say "you fuck" to a group of like just other human beings, like is what that's from. So again, if you see him on the top of a tower somewhere, maybe just go the other way.
What do you think his face looked like when someone's like, someone's got to tell him? Like,
Oh my God, I
Who's gonna
don't
tell
even
him?
want to
Like,
know. I
it
don't
had
even
to
want
be
to know.
some sacrificial like PA who's just like, oh, Mr. Cruz, I just want to let you know that we're gonna have to shut down shooting for about 10 days. And I just imagine him being silent and then like just him like hucking like a giant paperweight. People don't have paperweights anymore, but then he like just
Yeah.
makes a hole in the wall and then he just
You
starts
know,
screaming.
I'd be willing to. First off, I really hope that it happened over the phone. For whomever had to make that phone call, I hope for your sake that it happened over the
Oh
phone.
man. Oh
And the other
man.
thing is there's like one person he can't yell at, and that's the director. So I have a feeling that the director was like, "Oh shit! Like, what am I gonna do here? All right, someone get me the same costume that the bomb person wore in the Hurt Locker. I'll go in there and it'll be fine." Hey, Tom. Like, that's just the
Oof.
way that shit went down.
I don't want it to be me. I don't
Yeah,
want it to
I
be me.
no, I would
I,
not sign up for that,
I
but
mean,
at all.
like so. In any case, yeah, this movie, by the way, as a stinger here, this is still scheduled to come out May 27th, 2022,
Oh my
according
God.
to Entertainment Weekly. So like, they're saying it's still on track. If you're familiar with movie production, like this is doable. This is
Yeah.
totally doable. But literally everything from here on out needs to go perfectly. Like there can't like if they do reshoots, it's gonna be rough. Like
Oh my God,
it's gonna be real rough. So everything has to go super well from this point on.
well, and the other thing is like with the way Tom Cruise likes to do his stunts, like I don't know if you really can do reshoots, can you? I mean, at some point in time, it's
I
gonna have
mean,
to be what it's gonna have to be, right?
I would imagine for something like this, all the stunts stay the same. I feel like it's either you keep all the stunts or you cut one out. I don't think you redo any of them.
Yeah.
And then from here on out, it's just story stuff. So, you're getting everybody back in a lobby to say, like, hey, we got to go to the 3rd floor, or like,
Yeah, we gotta get
nukes
the
the 4th floor.
we gotta get the jump drive with the kill code on it. Like, that's
Right.
gonna be like, whoa,
Right.
that's the dialogue we're expecting.
Or, like, I would assume it would be like little ticky tack stuff like that. And
Yes.
also, reshoots are totally normal too, by the way. I
Oh,
just want to
yeah,
put out there.
they happen all the time, but it's
Like,
just yeah.
well, and so many news sites always pick up. I shouldn't say news sites. There are some sites out there, they're like, oh, there's reshoots for this movie and you should be concerned. And it's totally normal. If anyone has ever written a term paper, you know what it's like to edit your stuff the moment right before you turn it in. You're like, this entire paragraph doesn't fit the
Yeah,
entire what I need
yeah,
to redo this. Like, it's
yeah.
totally normal. But yeah,
We've
like,
we've even
basically, hopefully it's smooth sailing from here.
We've even done that, like, with this podcast, like, re-recording audio. So, like, it's a totally normal thing that happens, Brian, and that's a very good point. So you're right,
Yeah.
like, reshoots happen all the time. It's just when you're talking about, again, Tom Cruise likes to do his own stunts.
Ooh,
He's not a multi-take guy. So he'll
no.
do like 8 dry runs and then he'll to make sure it's perfect, and then he'll just say, like, shoot it, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he's almost died so many times.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you really want a good laugh, you go on YouTube and you look at there's some solid clips of him like breaking things or getting hurt. Like the last
Yeah,
Mission Impossible, like when he jumps from building to building, that's when he broke his foot. But they kept
yeah,
that tape because
yeah.
that was it.
Yeah. So that's just the incredible like story of him. So that's where the reshoots would in this case become a little bit more
Yeah,
are you gonna be able to do that, buddy? Like,
yeah.
yeah. Will your fibia hold up to be able to do that again? Like,
I mean,
we don't know.
Lordy, lordy. I mean, this is the franchise that like they're like, come on in, Jeremy Renner. We're gonna train you up to be the next Ethan Hunt. And then Tom Cruise is like, no, forget that. It's me. You
Yeah.
can't get rid of me. 2
Have
more
you seen
movies.
this guy's weird app? No way. Back when the Jeremy Renner app was
And
still a real
by the
thing.
way, that's the second time this has happened to Jeremy Renner because he made that Bourne movie.
Yep.
Like it was like a
Yep.
weird anthology. Bourne is what I'll call it. And then
Yeah.
as soon as they made it, Matt Damon was like, "Get out.
I'll come
This
back.
is my
I'm good.
franchise. Get out." Like,
That's
and
incredible.
yeah,
And we
like
still have yeah.
so good stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll stay tuned for the developing story with that. I mean, hopefully they can get back to shooting it because that's
Honestly,
important.
yeah, I hope so too. And I mean, yeah, I hope everybody's okay. Like I
Oh,
really want
for
everyone to be
sure.
safe and healthy. And yeah, hopefully that's better days ahead for them.
Yep, absolutely. My first piece of news, Brian, is more about a movie that we got a first look at today. And that is the movie No Sudden Move, which is scheduled to
Oh,
come out later this year on HBO Max.
oh boy.
It's directed by Steven Soderbergh, and it stars Benicio del Toro. It's
Okay.
basically got everybody in it, but yeah, it's got Benicio del Toro, Matt Damon, Brendan Fraser, David Harbour, John Hamm, Ray Liotta, Don Cheadle, Kieran Culkin, Julia. Like, it just and that list just goes on and
Oh
on
my
and
gosh.
on and on. And this is a Warner Brothers movie that is scheduled to come out, like I said, later this year, directly to streaming.
Right.
Let me get an updated like release date, July 1st.
Oh, this
So
is
in a
in
month.
weeks.
Yeah, less than a month at this point in time. And this
Wow.
movie looks like good, like good. Like, and that's the reason why I'm reporting on it as news is because it looks really, really good.
Gosh.
Um, basically basically the synopsis of this is bunch of these characters play criminals and they're all brought together under kind of some like secret or
Oh man, I love
veiled circumstances or weird situation, and the whole idea is that they all have like really really simple jobs, and over the
right.
course of this movie they have to put all of those pieces together to figure out like what happened, and what job were
Gosh.
they playing. And so if you liked the beginning of The Dark Knight, where you're trying to figure out who's supposed to kill who and what they're supposed to do, that sounds like basically this movie.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that like Steven Soderbergh is like known for his writing and his directing. He directed,
Yes.
just to give everybody a real quick rundown on all the things that he directed.
Oh my gosh.
He directed Logan Lucky. He
Yes.
directed Magic Mike. He directed The Informant. He directed Ocean's 13, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 11, Aaron Brockovich, and Sex, Lies, and Videotape. So he has directed a ton of things,
Yeah.
and that's just his like directing credits. Like, I mean, if you look at his like writing credits as well,
Yeah.
he's got a ton of those as well. So he's just kind of like a movie powerhouse in and of himself. And the
Oh
movie,
yeah.
I mean, the news here is the trailer's out and the movie looks awesome, and I'm jacked about it for July 1st.
I mean, absolutely. Like I'm looking, I'm basically looking at all their promotional materials here, and I mean, this is absolutely my jam. One, because I love heists,
Yep.
like, and I know that's very like like I'm such a simp like that, but
Yeah.
I love heists, and also I Don Cheadle gets a moment to shine here. Like I think this
Yep.
cast, it looks phenomenal. And I feel like with a lot of these types of movies, you're like, oh my gosh, look at all this star power. I'm
Yeah.
very aware it's probably going to be like the first 3 or 4 people that stick around for like the majority of the movie.
Yeah.
Also, we just talk about it's just nice to see Brendan Fraser.
I was
Brendan
just gonna
Fraser.
say that was gonna be the next thing that I said was like, this
Yeah.
is like the first time we've seen Brendan Fraser like
I-
live and in person, because I mean he's on Doom Patrol, but it's playing as a voice.
right.
And he's
Right.
playing like voices or in TV shows here and there. So it's nice to see him come back to the big screen.
Oh my gosh. I mean, one, I love him. I grew up with the Mummy movies, so he has been
Yes.
endeared to me for life with that. And yeah, he's been doing TV. He's been doing TV series basically
Yeah.
since 2015. If you're like, where has Brendan Fraser been? You're not the only one, by the way.
No.
And essentially he's just been doing TV since then. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been a lot. So I'm really happy to see him in a big budget film like this. I still don't understand why more people didn't cast him. I'm actually shocked he wasn't considered for the Uncharted movie. Like just
Yes. I
I-
am genuinely surprised he didn't play.
I-
He'd be an awesome Nathan Drake, to be honest with you. Like he just kind of had that look.
right.
So
Like,
yeah,
I mean, and obviously I'm sure Tom Holland will do a great job. I
for sure, for
just
sure.
wild to me that like he got those mommy movies and then it was like, nope, sorry, we're done with you being an adventurer. So now he's like,
I'm gonna put you in the trash until this movie comes out.
pretty much.
Okay.
But that's my my Brendan Fraser hype here. I think the only other thing I wanted to talk about here is just, I mean, this cast, like how much more
Yes.
can I get about this cast? Like, and Ray Liotta, very curious here. Ray Liotta gets the with credit, so he was apparently a big get. And I haven't seen him since Marriage Story, so he's riding those streaming trains and getting
Yeah,
those
man.
movies. So yeah, I'm really pumped for this. I think I'm due for a good heist. So
Yeah.
I mean, I thought, and let me rephrase this. I thought Army of the Dead would be more heist-y, and it was
Oh, for
not.
sure.
It was enough heist. I think if we're gonna
Oh
give anatomy of a
shit,
heist
Brian.
movie, right?
So as you pull this back, the more and more of this gets even better. So as you look at the writing credits, so the writer for this movie is Ed Solomon. Ed Solomon has been responsible for the following:
Oh boy.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure,
Oh, I'm
Bill and
in.
Ted's Bogus Journey, the Super Mario Brothers, Men in Black, Charlie's
Oh,
Angels, Now You See Me, Now You See Me 2, Now You See Me
oh,
3, and then Bill and Ted Face the Music. So this motherfucker has been doing everything.
oh my gosh. I love it. And
So this
I
movie's
love
gonna
Now
be
You See Me
insane.
Too. Oh no, this is a powerhouse. All the elements are here. I not ironically enjoy Now You See Me. All of the
No,
both, even Now You See Me Too. I still enjoy them. Also because there's a heist involved. You're
right.
seeing a theme here.
We talked
Uh,
about it last week with Austin and Jen. Like
oh yeah,
all five of us at this point in time think that that movie is like
yeah.
low key awesome.
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, yeah, I'm really glad you brought this up because I'm hyped for it. It feels like everybody's in a place here to be successful. Like,
For sure, for
honestly,
sure.
you
And
know,
also, really quick, Ed Solomon, you are
yes.
responsible for Super Mario Brothers. And I really would love to give you like a hug, a high five, and
Yeah.
just I wanna eat. I just wanna take you out to a nice meal,
Yeah.
Ed Solomon, because that
Yeah.
movie's fucking awesome, and people shit all over it, and it's one of those things that it's like, it's so nuts, it's great. Like,
I
and that's what I like about it.
I mean, Super Mario Brothers, I mean, where to even
Yeah.
begin? Like, it's even just seeing it as a kid, you're going in expecting like, "I'm gonna see the red plumber and the green plumber
Yep.
jump on some turtles," and then you get down there and it's like, "Welcome to Steampunk
No,
Disco."
you are not.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, just, like, nothing reminiscent of the game, just, like, it really just feels like they never played the game, and they're like, "At least Mario and Luigi are in it, and, Bowser. That's it. Just
Yeah.
as long as those 3 names are said, you're fine, have fun."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also, they are going to get so this I'm gonna pivot it. It's not my
do it.
news, but it's on the same like wavelength as now that we've brought up Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
They are releasing a fan re-release that has 20 more minutes of footage.
Of Super
And it is
Mario
a
Brothers?
yes, it's a fan compiled Morton and Janko cut that adds over 20 minutes of never before seen footage to the movie that came out in 1993.
What
Yeah.
why?
I don't know, and I'm very, very, very curious as to what that looks like. I
Huh,
don't know when it's supposed to drop or what it's supposed to look like, but
that is
it's
wild.
yeah. Oh, you
Okay.
can watch it via the internet. You could just sit down and watch this 125-minute cut via the internet. Like, that's just what you can do.
Oh, god.
You know what I wanna
Good
do?
luck. Yeah.
And this is only punishment for Marcus. I almost wanna
Sure.
make him watch that and then talk about
Oh
it
my
on the podcast.
gosh.
That
Oh my
would
he'd
be
hate
I would
us.
he would hate it
He'd hate
so
us. I
much,
mean, he would be so upset. Like, you think the
actively.
barbershop summaries get a little saucy? That would be
That one would be spicy for sure.
I don't know, man. I don't
Anyway,
know.
um, well, that's what but Brian, long story short, this movie, looks awesome,
Yes.
and I'm very excited about it. So that was my first piece of news.
Fantastic. Love that. Well, since you brought up the crossover episode, with
Yeah.
all of you talking about good movies here, I think this is a perfect time for me to jump in and let people know that Cruella is getting a sequel and has the green light from Disney. So we are moving ahead, according to the Hollywood Reporter, M. Stone and the director Craig Gillespie and screenwriter Tony McNamara. They're all coming back for the second film. All 3 of them. So that
Okay,
trifecta
okay,
on the way back.
okay. Brian,
Yeah.
is the sequel to Cruella just called 101 Dalmatians? Because based on the end credit scenes and where things are at, that's what it should be
I
called.
I
I mean,
mean,
unless she survives that car crash and they just spring forward to after 102 Dalmatians or whatever,
yeah,
and like that's just where they're at. Like, but
yeah.
this feels like money grabby,
I
like
mean, well,
a
yeah. Yes, 100%. I mean, like, they're just I mean, it's Disney. Like, if there's money to be
yes, that's
made
fair.
on the table, they're gonna take it from you. And I
That's
think
fair.
the other thing too here that I'll put my analysis hat on here is that I think this is going to be the future for how Disney is going to do their villain origin stories. It almost feels like
Yeah.
they're making like an Elseworlds like
Oh,
type
sure.
universe with it. If you're familiar with DC Comics, it's a little bit like What If, but essentially it's like it's this whole other arena where you can play with these ideas without any consequences to the canon or an
Yeah.
existing timeline.
Or
And it
risk, like, sullying an original.
right. Like,
Right.
it really feels like it's gonna be this adjacent thing, which I totally
That's
get.
fine.
This was really well received by people. Like, this thing still has a 97% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes as of this
Oh my
recording.
god.
And it
People
has
really
an
like
A
that.
on CinemaScore on opening weekend. So, I
Okay.
mean, people liked this.
Okay. Okay. That's okay, that's you're right, and there are certain people that I would yeah, you're right. I mean, it's I'm trying to figure out how to process through this. Brian, you're right. Like, they are going to
Well
do they're gonna do this origin story for other, like
oh, yeah.
like, Disney villains. I guess
Yes.
my question is that, like, honestly, And if there are people who listen to this, who have an idea of what this could be, great, tell me. But what
Right.
the fuck could they possibly still have to go
Oh, man.
over that? Like, what are we missing? Because it's just, I felt like Cruella did such a good job. One of the things to its credit is
Yeah.
it did a great job of tying in like the rest. It did a great job of tying in everybody else and really
Right.
putting a nice neat bow on it of like, oh, you were curious about Cruella, well, now here's what you got.
Yeah.
You can watch Cruella, then you can go back and watch 101 Dalmatians, and
Right.
then there you go, you got it, you have the complete trajectory now. Unless it's like, this is then like, it's Cruella 2 is her being in the reverse role of the
Right.
Duchess or what, or Baroness of whatever her name was,
Yeah.
and essentially saying like someone's coming for Cruella now, and it's a reverse thing. I don't know. It
Yes.
just feels weird.
No, that's Doug, that's it. You did it. You wrote this. Like that's like the broad treatment of the
Disney, I will
sequel.
take an obscenely lower fee than just about everybody else. Like really quick, in case you're listening. I know you're listening, because you've made so many other calls that we made.
Look,
So hit
Doug
me
Doug
up.
will take the "I'm just happy to be here"
Yeah,
salary, like,
yeah.
and we're real easy to please, folks.
You
Like,
let me
you
give
know?
you let me take a picture with Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. getting a double high five that says I'm a super, and you put big bold letters down at the bottom. He's a superhero too. That's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. I don't need anything else. I just need that framed on a canvas that I can put up on my wall. That's all
I
I need.
I mean, that sounds
You're not
great.
going to find anybody who's willing to do it for
Oh,
cheaper.
man. Well, that's also true. Also true. But they already locked all these people into a contract. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Doug.
that's fair.
So,
That's fair.
probably
Damn
not,
it.
but I think the other thing too here that I feel like that I was talking about this with a friend, and I feel like one of the other things, also listening to the episode you all did, it brings me this idea that like when we have these animated movies and we see them as
Yeah.
kids, right? They don't grow up with us. They always
No,
stay aimed at the kids, right? And I
for sure.
feel like Disney has for a long time, they're trying to right, they want to reach those adults that are going to spend money that relate
Yeah.
to their products as children and then give them something as an adult, right? And
Right.
that's like, look at me in Star Wars, and they've nailed so much
Yeah,
of
they
that.
got
And
they got you.
I will totally own that. Like, hey, Bryan, you're you're an adult now. What if I told you that you could go make your own lightsaber and we'll give you like a whole show and everything? And I just said, shut up and take my money. Like that's all. Like I
Yeah.
didn't even think about it twice.
Yeah.
And so I feel the reason I bring this up is not to talk about making a lightsaber, but to say that I feel like with Cruella and these types of movies and the villain origin stories that this is a way for these stories to grow up with people. And
Oh,
this
for
is a
sure.
way for adults or even older children. Like I think
Yeah.
that's important to say here is like this was PG-13 and my
Yeah.
niece saw this, by the way, and she is like, and she's, over the PG-13 status there, and
Right.
she says it was awesome. Like she says it's one of her top 3
Yeah,
movies right now.
for sure.
And so I feel like they're hitting this sweet spot of like, well, we
Yeah.
know you're not a young kid anymore. So we're just going to make this a little bit edgy for it to grow up with you and you can still go enjoy that content, but it's a little bit more adult. And I feel like that will be an incredibly successful model for them because yeah, like people want this stuff to grow up with them.
Well, I think what they've solved is the college kid conundrum. And I
Sure.
call it the college kid conundrum because, Bryan, you work in student affairs. It's
I
hard
do.
for us to use Disney stuff for college kids
Yes.
because you risk making them feel like a child.
Oh yeah.
What
100%.
Disney has done to your, like, to basically kind of boost what you're saying
Sure.
is like they've essentially said, hey, look, we found a way to make it so that way you can relate to something that was enduring to you as a child, but no
Yes.
one can call you a child for liking it because it has this like a little bit
Yeah.
of an edgier content to it.
Right.
So I think that you're absolutely right. And I think we're going to see more of that. I
Yeah.
think I mean, I can think of a couple villains like right off the top of my head.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
I am genuinely excited to see Ursula when they
Yes.
finally decide to do Ursula. I'm
Yes.
very excited to see what they do with that. I think Hercules is probably one of my favorite Disney movies of
Oh,
all time.
man.
I'm
Yes.
genuinely jacked as shit to see what they do with like
Oh,
Hades and what they
yeah.
do with like the Titans in
Yeah,
that. Like the only
absolutely.
one I think that they're going to struggle with is the Hunter and Bambi, because there's legitimately no way there's legitimately no way that there's no way that you can do that. Like what? Like, you know what, the origin for that is a 30-minute action live short of a gentleman going to buy a hunting license and
Oh,
then
man.
sitting in a tree for
All right.
25 minutes.
Hang
Then
on.
he shoots, roll credits.
Okay,
Like,
hear
all
me
that
out, though.
is.
Hear me out, though. If you make this grow up, right? You make this grow up. Okay, what if Bambi's mom, though? What if Bambi's mom was, like, feral and, like, he was just camping in the middle of the woods, right? And the entire 2-hour movie, it's called Hunter, by the way, a Bambi, Bill, and Origin story, and all he's doing is trying to have a nice camp out, just him and himself, just got laid off of work, and then here's this feral,
Oh, Bryan,
deer.
I want to take
Go.
that up a notch. I want to take that up a. It's called Hunter, right?
Okay.
And every good origin story
Sure.
needs to have a tragedy.
Yeah, it
And
does.
what if the tragedy in this one
No, don't
is
do it.
Bambi's
No,
mom
no,
jumps out in front of a car, the car
no,
swerves as to miss
no,
her, and it
Doug,
goes over the edge. Fade out. It's the hunter's wife and 2 kids, and this is a story of
no,
vengeance.
no. That's even more sad. At least mine had the hook of being scary. You're just making people sad.
I am. I mean, a little bit. I'm making people sad just a little bit, but this
Oh,
is
oh my God.
that's what
That
this
fits, though.
is.
That fits.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
totally yeah, but I mean, we're kinda clowning, but kinda not. Disney, give us a call.
It's
And,
it's the Punisher, but it's a hunter and Bambi's mom. Like, that's
right.
basically what this
Right.
is.
Oh, and I mean, the movie writes itself. The last
Oh,
shot is
yes.
Bambi looking up and being like, "I'll get you." You know, like,
Or
that's,
saying something like, "And finally, sweet release." Like,
Oh, Lord.
credits.
Oh my
That's all it is.
Oh, and then you
Oh,
really blow
Jesus.
people's minds, and you have the hunter meet Cruella, and then people wonder, and then Nick
Yeah.
Fury comes. Alright, I'll stop.
Yeah, that's I
Uh,
mean, there's multiple universes, Brian. They're setting up a multiverse. There's a multiverse where all of
Disney
these Disney
multiverse.
princesses are superheroes. Like, there's one of them.
Oh,
So,
man, we have fun here.
yeah,
Anyway.
welcome to Films in Black and White.
Yeah, yeah, we have fun here. So that's it. That's what I wanted. Cruella's getting a sequel. If you zoned out, that's it. Cruella's getting a sequel.
Yeah, and it's gonna be one of those 2 storylines that we just talked about. Well, Brian, that's awesome. I'm gonna stick with this whole theme of things being weird and taking something wholesome and
Sure.
potentially making it dark.
Oh,
So
boy.
I am getting this piece of news from Collider, and it was reported, I believe, today
Oh?
that Rob Zombie of musician and filmmaker fame, he has done movies like The Devil's Rejects and
Yes.
things like that. He has announced that he is doing a movie about the Munsters.
Wow.
So he posted today saying, "Attention, boils and ghouls. The rumors are true. My next film project will be one I've been chasing for 20 years. The
Wow.
Munsters. Stay tuned for exciting details as things progress." It was so just in case anybody's not curious, this is an old school TV show from like I think it was
Oh,
like from the
man.
70s, wasn't it?
Hey,
Like, yeah.
I'll look up a date. You keep going, though.
Anyway, so it ran for about 70 episodes and essentially is like a modern day sitcom that follows an American family that is made up of like basically movie monsters. So,
1964, by the way.
oh,
And you
I
can
was
watch this for
way off.
free on Peacock, by the way, everybody. I
Oh,
did not know that's where this lived.
Another peacock bonus. That's fantastic. Um, so basically, the idea is one of the dad monster is Frankenstein, the little boy monster is a vampire, the grandpa is a vampire, and I'm not really sure what type of monster the wife is supposed to be.
I think she's
Um,
supposed to be like a witch,
oh,
I
okay,
thought,
okay,
but
I believe
yeah.
that. That's fair.
Mhm.
But again, I really want to make sure that we make this really, really clear. Like, Rob Zombie's film credits are like Three from Hell was his
Ye-
most recent.
Yeah.
Then he also did The House of a Thousand Corpses. And he's done like he's just like he takes stuff and makes them like super, super gruesome and dark and bloody. So I mean, I get that like he's always been a horror fan, so I'm sure the Munsters back when he was growing up was maybe like an inspiration for him and something that he enjoyed watching. But this
Right.
is this could get weird. Like this could get real weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
It's the best
know.
way to
I'm
put that,
just
Brian.
so I don't know. It's just it's like okay. It like I don't know. I really don't know how to take this because
No.
you look at his filmography, right?
Uh-huh.
And you're familiar with his hits. Like you just listed them all.
Yes.
Like and he also I did not know this, but he did some writing for Grindhouse too.
Yes.
So it I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he's like wanting to bring that type of style to the Munsters. I don't know. Maybe he's wanting to try something different. I feel like it's worth noting though that to me it appears that he's been trying to do a bunch of different stuff for a while. Like
Sure.
he's been pretty quiet. So the other thing that popped out to me is he was a writer for the Pen 15 series that
Mhm.
recently came out, which is just about adolescence and growing
Yeah.
up. And he's done some writing in that respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this turns out. I'm just so perplexed. I don't know how to have an opinion on this one.
Well, and maybe you're right. Like maybe like with his work on the Pen 15 series, like as a writer, maybe this is like a chance for him to say like, I don't have to do shit that's like dark and
Right,
weird. Like I can do other stuff that maybe
right.
might be good. Like and so like maybe he's legitimately trying to turn over something that's a little bit of a new leaf.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to see how it goes. Either way, there's a small part of me that has seen old episodes or at least is aware of the pop culture dogma that is the Munsters.
right.
I'm aware of it. I kind of want to see what he does with it. Like that's the thing is like it's gonna
Yeah.
be weird, but I'm kind of like, all right, show me what you got, man. Like I'm ready. Like strap me in. Like I'm ready.
And
I'm
let
ready. I
me
don't like scary shit, but all right,
yeah.
let's see what this looks like.
Well, and let me correct myself. He was the writer for a song on Pen 15. I apologize. That was
Oh,
very confusing how that was
you're
listed.
fine, Brian.
But I do feel like it's important that yeah, the last thing he wrote was Three from Hell. Like, and then he's just gonna go straight
Yep.
to this.
So tune
Uh
in for when the Frankenstein Ed Munster starts eating people. Like
yeah,
that's
just
basically what's gonna happen.
yeah, and the work that he did on Grindhouse, he wrote the Werewolf Women of the SS short.
Oh, I did
Um
not see that, Brian.
Yeah, so, like, that's a little bit of comedy if you're familiar with the Grindhouse movie that Quentin Tarantino put out. Quentin Tarantino put in fake ads in that movie between the
Oh, sure.
2 main Grindhouse flicks,
Oh,
and it was a
sure.
preview for a fake movie. I believe Nicolas Cage actually has a cameo in that. Um
Oh.
yeah, I have no idea how to feel about this. Anyone listening is probably like, Brian, we get it. We don't know how you feel, but I just feel like this is such an odd pairing that I don't know what they want from this
Yeah,
as
I
a
don't
production.
either. That's the thing. It's like I don't know what they want from it either. So, like you said, I'm legitimately curious. So, but that's what I got, and that is my second piece of news for you, sir.
Fan.
So we will have to kind of tune in to see what happens with that.
All right. All right, cool. So this next one, it's a little the news item is a little bit, but then the implications are a lot of bit. So this is a Marvel piece of news, and so Paul Bettany talked to the playlist,
Okay.
and they asked him about White Vision. We
Okay.
don't have another Vision. We don't exactly know what to call him, and he said, "quote I still don't know that." He also went on to say, quote, I don't have a contract. I don't know that. I don't know that at all. And all that I do know is as far as this sort of tranche of press goes, it's for an Emmy push, which is for a limited series. So it doesn't look like that so it doesn't look like that happening again. I mean, I guess it would be difficult to introduce White Vision and not deal with him in some way, but we have not discussed that. End quote. So, like,
Okay.
Paul
Okay.
Bettany pretty much saying what we're all thinking here. And if you don't know what an awards tranche is, this is basically, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of pieces coming out for a lot of the stuff that's nominated for Emmys, and going for an Emmy push. So yes, this is you're on notice. WandaVision is going for that limited series one, and it sure looks like Paul Bettany has no idea what they're going to do with Vision here. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. So in any case,
Yeah.
Paul Bettany doesn't know anything.
I also, here's the other thing. I'm sorry to have the audible like
Go ahead.
guffaw at that
You're
piece of news.
fine.
That's great news, Brian. I'm excited to talk about it because here's the thing. White Vision at the end of that series was like shaking up a giant thing of bees and then throwing it and being
Yeah.
like, we'll never know where it lands.
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
all that it was. Essentially, he sorted out he sorted out his emotional issues
Oh,
and then
man.
was fine and just kind of flew off into the sunset.
Yeah.
So it is
Literally,
weird.
yeah.
It is weird that they just said, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
If it's true. But here's the other thing. Paul Bettany has made it very clear to all of us that he is interested in fucking with us like all the time. Because
I
remember,
mean,
he had that
Paul
little
Bettany has been known to absolutely mess with us. I totally
Oh,
agree.
for sure. Like
Yeah.
he has remember the big like letdown of WandaVision of him being like, you'll never know what cameo's coming. And it's like, it's yourself, man. You just did yourself. You rickrolled me for a different colored version of yourself.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of like, okay, maybe this is something, but also maybe it's not. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how to feel about it, and it's gonna be weird. So,
I,
but it'd be weird not to deal with. He's right though. Like it would be weird not to deal with him, especially because if I'm not mistaken, Brian, White Vision flies off essentially to
yeah.
California and becomes a part of the West Coast Avengers.
Oh,
Does he
that would
not?
be incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah,
He's
that.
just chilling.
Yeah, I'm gonna retire. Like I'm gonna retire in California. So yeah, this
I
is
mean,
weird. Yeah.
I feel like it needs to be said, this could absolutely be a negotiating tactic for Paul Bettany.
Oh
Like
sure.
he might know 100% that like, yes, Marvel's gonna need him back, and him playing coy about it is gonna drive up interest and drive up need and demand and all that stuff, and people wanting this to be resolved. I think that's part of it. I also just feel like the way they resolved White Vision, this is totally plausible. Like I would
Oh yeah.
absolutely believe this 100% if someone if like just the way it's presented here. I have no reason to think that they've thought anywhere beyond this.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure.
just because of how they ended the series. Like
Yeah.
usually most Marvel movies, it's like, well, this person's off to this, or this person is gonna go explore this, and it was just bye. Like,
Yeah.
and we talked about that in our WandaVision episode of how rushed that finale felt.
Yes.
Even though, by the way, it is still on track to be a top series for me for the entire year. Like,
Oh,
we're
for
almost
sure.
halfway through the year. I, I don't know what can beat that right now.
I
But in
mean,
any
Loki
case,
is coming out on Wednesday, so we will see what
yes.
happens. But yes, you're absolutely right.
I mean, like just the energy this show had and the buzz and how different it was. Even
Yeah.
if it didn't stick the landing, it still tried something new and different, which you don't always see. So, like, I'm very easy to forgive the whole White Vision thing. I just think at this point, it's like someone has to be thinking somewhere like, okay, well, we got to like sneak him in some movie as a cameo of like, I'm White Vision, but I'm doing stuff in the background. It's just Paul Bettany going, shh.
It's
That's
like
it.
Spider-Man No Way Home. He's like sitting in a diner reading a paper, and a kid looks and he's like,
Yep.
you didn't see me.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like he's
Yeah.
like 3 words and that's it.
Right.
But I guess
That's it.
here's my other question though. Like, could you get like either you wrap him up, right?
Right.
Like as a loose end, or like you just move away from him. And I feel like that's the thing is like Marvel really has, as far as I see it, 2 choices. Either there are plans to have Vision come back in
Right.
later Avengers movies or Marvel movies in the future, or they're done with him and they're moving on, because it's not like you
Yeah.
can cast somebody else, because his voice is
Right.
pretty iconically Vision's.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this isn't like Iron Man and War Machine and Ironheart. Like, you
Right.
can't pass that mantle and that responsibility onto
Oh,
somebody else. They're
yeah.
gonna have to deal with him.
Yeah, I
So,
totally agree. And like again, he has trolled us before.
oh yeah,
It's totally possible in 2 months we're gonna be reading a thing about like, oh, he has a contract now and he'll show up in a movie soon.
right. Yeah.
I think that it's very 50-50, but with the way things were left, it sounds like nobody knows, and I'm I'm very
Right.
curious to see how this ends up.
Well, and the other thing is like, we could deal with him in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And
Absolutely.
he is just saying, well, I don't know what's going to happen with WandaVision 2,
Right.
wink, because they're not going to deal with him there. They're going to deal
Yeah,
with him in the movie. Like,
right.
so there are a whole litany of scenarios that could come up that change how this is supposed to
Oh,
go.
absolutely. And I was talking with a friend about this the other day, and we talked about Flashpoint. Marcus is not here. You are here in spirit. We're
Yes,
bringing
you
up
are.
WBDC just for you, man. And how Flashpoint has kind of been this like build is like this is going to reboot the entire DC cinematic universe. Some folks that I've talked to, they feel that like Multiverse of Madness has the potential to rearrange the chess pieces
Oh,
a little
sure.
bit. And I feel like this could be a really easy way, since we're gonna have Scarlet Witch. If he popped up there, I think it makes 100% sense. It could
Oh,
be
yeah.
super easy cameo, and you could also shuffle him off to a different universe, and you wouldn't even like it wouldn't even
Yeah.
matter.
Wouldn't matter.
Um,
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
so I thought that was an interesting theory. It is not mine, but I have played around with that, and it just leads up to, by the way, I know we have 4 Marvel movies coming out this year.
Yes.
Still the most hyped about Doctor Strange. I
Yeah,
cannot
for
wait.
sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm genuinely very excited, and it's not because the other ones are bad. It's just they
No.
did such a good job with WandaVision that my interest is like laser focused
Yeah.
on that for sure.
Yeah.
That and Spider-Man being so close to each other are gonna be awesome.
Absolutely. And Spider-Man is absolutely up there. I just don't know enough about it to even know
Yeah,
how I feel about it.
for sure.
But yeah, like we're cruising. I think we're in for some really, really good stuff here soon.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Brian, I am going to stick with Marvel for
Do it.
my last piece of news. So I'm glad you brought this up.
Do
My
it.
last piece of news, and I am getting this particular piece of information from Empire, but Empire Online, which is a British magazine about movies,
Oh yeah.
but it's been reported elsewhere, and it is about a rumored casting in Wakanda Forever.
Oh boy.
So Ryan Coogler has been dealing with this what to do about Chadwick Boseman thing, but he is still moving on with some version of planning and casting, because a rumor surfaced today. The Illuminerdi reported it, I think, via
Oh.
Twitter, that the actor Tenoch Huerta,
Okay.
who had been previously cast in Black Panther, is now being rumored to have be cast as Namor the Submariner.
What?
Yes. So it's a big piece of pinch of salt. So like it could
Wow.
go anywhere. There have been hints that this is where like the MCU has wanted to go.
Right.
Like if you remember, Danny Guerra's Okoye mentions in Endgame that they had an earthquake off the coast of
Yes.
Africa, which may have been a tease for Namor's future appearance. So this is really, really
Right.
big. So really quickly, in case people aren't curious who Namor is, Namor is the son of an Atlantean princess and sailor. Essentially, it's the Marvel version of Aquaman, except like he actually rises to become king, and he's always kind of been he's kind of a villain for a little bit, but then he was a hero again for a little while, and he kind of goes back and forth. He's also been linked to the X-Men as well. So
Oh
he's
goodness.
kind of all over the place.
Yes.
But this is really like kind of exciting. So we will see like what happens with it. Because the implications for this could be, one, again, with that connection to the X-Men, could that be something, or is it really just going to focus on like which version of him are we going to get? Are we going to get him as a villain? Are we going to get him as is this another anti-hero that we get to play with a little bit?
Right.
So there's just kind of like this is sort of like that White Vision news, Brian, to that effect of like, we don't really know which direction this could go, but it's kind of exciting wherever that is and wherever that ends up.
Yeah, I if you're not familiar with the comics, Namor he's been around since like 1937.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a
forever.
really good thing to point
Yeah.
out here.
He is an
He's been
OG character.
around for a while and has served a lot of different roles and purposes and has had a lot of different things going for him. I apologize, 1939. I thought it was 37. In any case,
I'm gonna forgive
I
you your
feel
2
like
years, Brian.
I know I was off by 2 years. Look at me. But I feel like one of the things here that is important to point out is that it is that Wakanda in the comics and and Namor and his kingdom, they frequently conflict with each other. This is
yeah.
like, nothing out of the ordinary for them, I guess is what I will
Mhm.
say. Namor, King of Atlantis, everything like that. And I think that there's a lot of ways you could go with it. My assumption would be is they don't want to make Namor like an antagonist or a villain. They probably want to build a whole
Yeah.
thing around him. And so I could see it being the classic, like, hey, you, I don't know, I don't know you. Oh yeah, well, I don't know you, and you're here. We're gonna fight. And there's like the first act is them like fighting because they didn't talk, right?
Yeah.
And then there's of course a shadowy third figure who's the real enemy, and then they join forces. So
Yeah.
I think that would be super satisfying if that is the direction we are going here. I think it's a really easy way to introduce the underwater kingdom. I think that
Mhm.
gives us a lot more places to go in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because right, the big question has been like, what do you do after Thanos? Like, what do you do
Yeah.
after the big space alien had a universe-wide threat? And my big thing has been that it's got to be something more like Earth-based, more home-based,
For
almost, of
sure.
just like it's gotta reflect that type of feeling of like, oh, this is close to home, and it hurts a little bit more. Like the threat is more
Right.
sinister because of XYZ. And within that vein, and I feel like having a place like Atlantis gives you another place to go. You're not retreading on all of these other places we've been before, like with
Yeah.
Hydra. And you're also putting Wakanda in the spotlight too, which I feel like is that's the future. Like I
Well,
feel like that's the
more of
future.
that, please. Yeah.
Right, and, like, with the Eternals and their area, however that will
What
be
yeah,
defined.
what the fuck, Eternals? You're just hanging out on Earth while this asshole, who happens to be, by the way, one of y'all's cousin, are just fucking,
Right.
whatever. I'm gonna let this guy grab all the Infinity Stones. You and I have
Yeah.
a bone to pick.
I mean, maybe it was, like, it's kinda like that an extended family thing of, like, "Oh, we do not know him. Don't do anything. We don't know him. If we do anything, they're gonna know we're related.
They're
Don't
gonna
do anything."
think they're gonna find out we're all from Titan, and it's a
Yep,
whole thing, and
yep.
I don't wanna deal with it.
"We are the only people from Titan on this planet," and then the big Titan guy comes. "No, no, 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 no. We're laying low here. We are laying low as the
Whatever.
Eternal." But that is Brian's speculation hour. Thanks for tuning in. But I feel like if this is true, I
Yeah.
think this would be a fantastic addition to the universe, and we could have a lot of fun places to go.
Yeah, I would entirely agree with you. Like I think there's a lot of cool things. And again, if Marvel seems to do, and Disney, mind you, like again, to kind of tie it back in with your
Yeah.
Cruella news, like Marvel and Disney do anti-heroes really well. I
Right.
mean, and so I think it would be interesting to see how they play this out and what role he plays in the universe going forward. And there are a lot of things that he could do, especially if especially if there is, and the rumors that have been circling around this have been true, that X-Men are coming eventually. There's a whole lot of things that you could do to really kind of bring him in.
Yeah. It still blows my mind that they made him a mutant.
Yes.
Still blows
Yes.
my mind. This has been probably like 10 years now in the comics
Yes.
world. Like this is old news, but when they made him a mutant, I was like, okay. So he's you're a king, underwater dude, mutant, Avenger. Got it. You went to
You
all of
checked
like
every one of those boxes.
what it feels like is someone that goes to like one of those fairs at a conference, and it's like all the vendors and telling you what
Yeah.
they can do for you. And instead of like Namor just going to the bar, he went to every single table and signed up for every
He wanted those drink tickets. So he
yeah,
signed up for
exactly.
fucking everything.
Yeah, he just went to every single table and said, "Sign me up, sign me up, sign
Yep.
me up." Like soon we're
What are
gonna
you
find
giving
out.
away? Oh, you're giving away an iPad? Yeah, I'll register for that too.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. A year's supply of ice cream. Yeah, sign me up.
Yep,
Absolutely.
okay. I don't
Be an
even
Avenger? Why not?
I'm
Yeah.
lactose intolerant, but that's okay. Yeah. So much so, by the way, that not only is he like an Avenger, not only is he a mutant, he
Right.
becomes, when the Phoenix Force rears its ugly head again and it's Avengers
Yes.
versus X-Men,
Oh my
he
gosh.
gets the Phoenix Force splits up into 4 people and he gets a piece of it. So
I'm gonna nerd out a little bit. It gets split up into 5 people.
does it really?
Yeah, it
That's
does.
right.
You're
It's
good.
Scott, Emma
Scott,
Frost,
Emma, Namor,
Namor,
Colossus, and
Colossus.
Magic, his
I
sister.
keep forgetting about I forgot about
That's
Colossus.
alright. That's
Um,
okay. I got
but
you, man.
but still, again, such a mutant that the Phoenix Force says, like, yeah, throw him in there. Like it's
Right,
that's really where it's all at, like
right.
top to bottom. So
Yeah,
this could be interesting. I'm not really familiar with the actor's body of work, full disclosure. I think based on a cursory IMDb search, he's been involved in a lot of like Spanish language movies and productions and TV
right.
shows and the like. But it's very exciting, and we will see where it goes from there.
I'm gonna go back here a second. It's a little off topic,
You're
but,
fine.
talking about, like, just numerous affiliations with people, if Namor's in that made up
Mhm.
vendor auditorium before the bar, Wolverine has been there since 6 a.m., and
Oh,
he's, like, probably made
yeah.
2 or 3 passes around all those tables because this man, for always talking about how he's on his own, this man has at least 9 to 10 team affiliations, by the way, that are
Yes.
listed here on
Yes.
Wikipedia.
He's
So
an Avenger, he's an X-Man, he's a member of X-Force, and those are the only 3 that I know, but this
oh,
dude has
man.
been saying how he is on his own from day 1. Hey,
Yeah.
man, you can't say you're on your own and then go join 3 teams. Like,
I mean,
that's not like saying, like that's like saying, like, "I'm a great long distance runner. That's why I do
right,
soccer and baseball and football." Like, it
right.
doesn't make any sense at all.
Oh, absolutely none. No, this is absolutely like the person that went into college and they're like, "I'm gonna do every club." I'm like, "You're gonna get burnt out if
You
you, like,
should do
only
maybe,
do."
like, 2.
Yeah, like, maybe do, like, 2 and see how you feel. No, signing up for all of them. I mean, like,
Register
there's teams here
me.
I've never even heard of, like Savage Avengers, okay. There's a Unity squad for the Avengers. Oh, I actually know them. I just don't know them by that name. I take that back immediately. But, like, yeah, it's just wild. In any case, I just
Very
wanted to
wild.
pin that
That
on
is a
Wolverine.
great anecdote, Brian, so I appreciate you bringing that up. Brian, that exhausts all the news that I have. Do you have anything hanging around that you'd like to report on for this week?
I do, and I feel like this is gonna, like, hype a total of 3 people, but I do feel
Doesn't
like
matter. That's who we're here
this
for.
this is pretty cool, and it also gives me a plug to tell you to read a book, so I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
So N.K. Jemisin, let me phrase that again. N.K. Jemison's Hugo Award-winning Broken Earth trilogy is now coming to the big screen. This is from
Okay.
Deadline. If you're not familiar with this, the Broken Earth trilogy is a post-apocalyptic like dystopia type book series. It's very hard to describe because that is like barely scratching the surface. I have read this
Okay.
trilogy. It's incredible. N.K. Jemisin is, I would say, one of the premier sci-fi like authors right now. And she's fantastic. So she got a 7-figure deal, which good for her. Get that bag, I think is what Marcus would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Get
she
that
will
money, man.
be yeah, and Deadline is reporting that she will make this a movie. If this sounds familiar, TNT wanted to make this a TV series back in
I'm glad they didn't do that.
2017, which I never understood how it would work like that.
Mhm.
But in any case, if you really like sci-fi, if you really like dystopia, and all the stuff that we're talking about here with mutants, definitely check out the Broken Earth trilogy. It is fantastic. It has
For
some great
sure.
twists and turns. And yeah, so that's being made into a movie. I think that it will. I think it'll be fun. She will also be adapting it personally.
Oh, cool.
She'll be part of the process. So I feel like good things ahead for this.
Really quick, just want to kind of go over. So, Brian, this is a trilogy, correct? This particular the
Yes.
Broken Earth series. It starts with, so if people are curious and they want to read up on it before the movie really gets going, the first book in this series is called The Fifth Season, and I'm getting this
Yes.
from Wikipedia. I have
Nope.
not read them, but
That's
it's
absolutely
the
right.
fifth season. Is the first book. Then The Obelisk Gate is the second book, and The Stone Sky is the third book. Other fun fact, Brian, and this is kind of close to home because it's close to where you and I went to college.
Oh,
She calls Iowa City, Iowa home.
look at that.
She was born in Iowa City, Iowa.
Wow.
She got her degrees from Tulane University and then the University of Maryland College Park.
Wow.
And the other kind of cool thing, not that someone's identity is the only reason why stuff is cool, but she's also a person of color. So
Yes.
kind of cool to get another take on some of these prominent stories and some of these cool things. And it's glad to see, like Marcus would say, somebody getting that bag and be able to get that money. So super pumped for her.
Yes. So honestly, go check out those books. It's the summer, folks. You need a good summer book. In
Yeah.
any case, I'm really excited for her. I'm really excited for this being a movie. I think this is a really good place to adapt it. So really pumped about that.
Awesome. That's great. Well, thanks for sharing that, Brian. That'll have to be stuff that we can check out because after all, our first key is reading a book. So
Read a
we
book.
don't just tell you to do it. This is called challenge and support. We tell you to do it, and then we also give you ways that you can get it done. We have reached the section of this particular podcast where we talk about stuff that we would like to plug. Brian, what would you like to plug this week?
Once again, I'm here to talk to you about thelovenerds.com. Oh man, and if you're on the live stream, Doug just threw that on there.
There you go.
Lovely. Thank you. Go check it out. It's the summer. You need a recipe to impress those folks now that we're opening back up and everybody's
Yeah,
vaccinated. Like, yeah, I haven't seen you in a year. I need to make something special. There's a bunch of special recipes on there. Also sangrias. You want to be a little different. Maybe beer and wine is just not hitting the spot.
yeah.
Get a sangria. Also, I'm Rogue Roush on TikTok. Follow me
Yeah, he
there. I
is.
do videos. And yeah, that's what I want to plug this week. How about yourself, Doug?
Brian, I have a couple things I want to plug. The
Ooh,
first thing is I'm going to insert a plug for the Mantra, which is Marcus's clothing brand and music business that he's got going. They got new merch on. I can't. There's no way I can possibly do this justice. But they got no new merch coming. They got new music coming. And as always, you can catch them on Instagram at _ the mantra. And remember, always follow it. Never offended, always humble. That's where you're at. So you can always catch of Marcus's stuff there.
yes.
The other thing that I want to plug is two things. First, if you are looking for something to watch, like a new show out there, check out Hulu's MODOK.
Look at
It
this.
is amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you are a fan of Robot Chicken and Marvel and all at the same time, it's 30 minutes of that, and it's got Patton Oswalt in it. And Patton didn't just do the voice. Patton also co-wrote a series of comic books following MODOK to kind of like come out before the series came out.
Oh, I did
So
not know that.
yeah, he did. So he did like a whole like MODOK theme. So you can kind of check that stuff out. So there's that. The last thing I have to plug is this particular podcast. So make sure that you follow us wherever you get your social media stuff going, whether that's Twitter, whether that's Facebook, whether that's Instagram, because we got some good things coming. We are going to be starting our Summer of Guests series here, hopefully soon, to get some more voices in here, like we did last week. And then other things that you can do is help us reach our Trek for 25. We're trying to get more people to subscribe to the Patreon page. So follow us there at patreon.com/films in black and white. And just consider supporting. Check out the live stream every week, that type of thing. So that is what I have to plug.
And I want to piggyback off this Patreon thing here really quick. I know for some folks, people are like, well, I don't get it. Like, I listen to the podcast and it sounds great. And we love that. And we love
Yeah,
your support.
absolutely.
And I think the other important thing here is if you do have that extra $5 laying around and you're saying, hey, I want it to go somewhere where it's going to go the farthest. When you contribute to our Patreon, you are helping with our hosting fees. You're helping with our website. You're helping make sure that we even just get the podcast out to the places it needs
For sure.
to go, which Doug does a fantastic job making sure that happens
Thanks,
through all of our platforms. But all of that takes money, and all of that
yeah,
is needed on a monthly basis. And so that is just such an easy way for you to help, for you to contribute if you are a really big fan of the podcast. Because the other thing about this is that we're able to be innovative and creative with this format because we are an independent content creator. Like, we are not
sure.
beholden to any of, the larger
Nor
corporations.
will I ever be.
Like, we don't have to worry about making any of them happy, and that's where you get this really snappy
For sure.
content from.
For sure.
And that's where you get this unique content from. And so if you like that, support us. We are very appreciative. We'll give you a shout out. We're running a basically a Patreon fan and contributor member like shout out on our social media. You'll get involved with that. So that is something you should check out. Make sure to check out the Patreon, and we have a link there wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brian. That was very, very well said. That brings us to my favorite and your favorite part of the show, which is our three
Always.
keys to success. Brian, please run down the first step to success for our folks.
Look, we already talked about this. Read a book. I already got a jump start on this. I already told you all the good reasons to read a book, but look, it's the summer, and I don't care who you are, things are slowing down a little bit. Maybe you're in an industry specific, like if you're a realtor, you probably don't have time to read. Sorry, you'll go to the next one. But my main point here is
Never
that
important.
if you have more time to read in the summer, like a lot of people do, pick up a book, any book. You have the time now. You can be the Twilight Zone guy who doesn't break his glasses and can now read all the books that they wanted to read the entire time. So be that person, have that inspiration. There's time now. So pick up a book and read it.
Pick up a book. You heard it here first. You're absolutely right. The next key to success is drink some water. Look,
Please.
y'all, it's hot. You're gonna start doing stuff outside, and there's no reason why anybody should have to take a break and not enjoy the beautiful weather, especially if you're like Brian and I, and you live in a place where 8 to 9 months out of the year it is quite cold and not very pleasant. Like, you want to go outside, you want to enjoy the beauty of outdoors. So just drink some water so you can enjoy it longer. Hydrate yourself. Stay healthy. It's important to do so. Not even anything other than, like, no one wants a headache at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because you didn't have an
No.
extra glass of water.
No.
So yeah, just drink some water. Make sure you stay hydrated. All of that jazz.
Love it.
The last key to success is, look, in addition to drinking some water, use some of that water and soap to wash your ass. It doesn't really matter what it is. And just real quick, just because I say wash your ass, I don't necessarily mean specifically your ass. Like, it's hot, you sweat, wash everything while you're up in it. I mean, the ass helps because you don't want to carry some extra invisible baggage along with you when you go inside a room or meet a new person, or stuff is opening back up again, and you don't want to know you don't want your stuff following you around. You don't want to grow an invisible tail like Pepe Le Pew. You just don't want it. So just make sure you wash your ass and just wash yourself, because again, it's hot, stuff is opening back up, and let's make a good first impression as we re-enter society. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this latest episode of Films in Black and White. We will be back next week with a movie review and as a triumphant return as a threesome. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, and we will catch y'all next week.